welcome everybody. And North will be covering So You Wanted to Know About AI or something like that title.
Yeah,
Want to learn more about AI. There you go. And it's not Al. I thought it was Al for a long time, but it is AI. So with that, North, why don't you take it over?
wonderful. My name is North Rittner. I'm a volunteer with the Longmont Senior Center Tech Connect, and I know that we've got some participants today also joining us from the city of Boulder that we're interested in this topic as well. So I want to welcome everybody globally, no matter where you are logging in from, whether it's in the great city of Longmont, Boulder, or across the nation. We're glad you're here. I'm glad that you're part of this learning adventure today because this one is going to change our lives whether we want it to or not. This one is ranked right up there with the light bulb, with the automobile, with the telephone, with the cell phone, with the internet. AI is going to change our lives. It already has, but the changes are just getting warmed up. So if you're here today, we're going to explore what it is, how it's going to change your life, and how you can understand basically what it is and what it's going to be doing for you as we move forward over the next couple of years. So with that, let's get started. What are we going to cover today? Well, we're going to cover what is it? We're going to talk about the history of how we got here, how we got to where we are today. Most importantly, we're going to talk about how to use AI safely, considerations when you use any AI system. Then part three is going to be some tips and tricks. We're going to show some tips on how to get started with AI, some safe tools that you can explore and play with so that you can get more comfortable now with AI. So as it develops and becomes more ubiquitous or everywhere in our daily lives, you're already going to have a good firm foundational understanding of what it is that AI is. And then we're going to do some practical exercises. We're going to do some Q&A. We're going to get hands-on. So pardon me for 1 second. My dog just detonated. I'm going to close my office doors. I'll be right back. And so during this moment, I'm going to say if you have, obviously you have a laptop because you're on the Zoom with us, but if you want to follow along today, we are going to be doing this in real time, and you can actually follow along with your own prompting in the AI tools we're going to use. They're open and available to everybody. The only thing is you may have to sign in or create an account with them based off of which tool you choose to use. So, but we're gonna look at several. And let's get started. What is AI? We're going to talk about the history of AI and how we got here. So AI, if you don't already know, it stands for artificial intelligence or almost intelligent. That's, we're getting to that phase where AI is learning very, very quickly, but it's not quite up to senior and high school level of intelligence there. And we'll talk more about that here in just a few minutes. Let's talk about the types of AI. First off, we've already been experiencing weak AI. We've been experiencing this since the 60s, 70s, and 80s, believe it or not, aka dumb AI. They can only answer simple questions and perform basic actions based on predefined commands only. For example, if you ask your smart device, Alexa, what time is it? It can only give you an answer. It can't do complex reasoning and solutions. That is left for strong AI. Content creation, pattern detection, monitoring, complex problem solving, and most importantly, it can do this without human interaction. So for those Star Wars fans out there, C3PO and R2D2 are good examples of strong AI. And then we have too strong AI. We want to avoid this. If you are unfamiliar with this image on the screen, this is the Terminator from the Terminator movies. That's a good idea of what too strong AI, where it's sentient, it's self-aware, and it becomes a danger to humanity. So, nope, just nope. If you want Skynet, this is how you get Skynet. It's uncontrolled AI that is allowed to proliferate and grow on its own without human moderation. So that's considered too strong AI. So let's talk about the path of how we got here, 1930 to 1940. If you're
Look this
familiar with
bigger.
the
We don't
name
want to.
Alan
We don't
Turing,
care who's home.
um, we're still using this today. It's called the Turing test. So when you do those wonderful little things where it's like pick the pictures of the bicycle, or type in the letters behind scrambled imagery, that's actually called a Turing test that was invented by Alan Turing back in the 1930s and 1940s. There is a wonderful movie called The Imitation Game that shows or talks about the birth of artificial intelligence in code breaking. If you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it, because we've really, with the exception of miniaturizing the technology, we still have rooms full of these computers that do the same things today. It's just much slicker and much faster. So 1930 to 1940, Alan Turing invented modern computing and AI today. 1960 to 1990s, we actually saw chatbots, self-driving cars, believe it or not, and then IBM's Watson was born during this period of time. And interestingly enough, I've peppered this presentation with AI-generated images. So this image that you're seeing on the left right here, I actually prompted Copilot to say, create me an image of what you think a friendly AI entity would look like. So that's actually an AI generated image right here about what a friendly AI bot would look like. Now, here we are, 2000s to the present. We're talking about LLMs. We're talking about machine learning and neural networks. We're going to dive into what all of this means here in just a second. But this was an image taken from the IBM Watson when it was on Jeopardy in the early 2000s. I want to say about 2006. And I want you to pay attention to the score here: $300,000, $200,000, and Watson is running away with it at $1 million. Watson cleaned the floor with the human competitors during the time it was on Jeopardy. So AI is very good at what it does, and we're going to talk about that here in just a few slides. Now let's talk about the generations of AI. Okay, first generation, GOFAI, GOFAI. That stands for good old-fashioned artificial intelligence, from the 1950s to 1980s. Again, AI systems based on explicit rules. It's if-then computing. If this happens, then this occurs. It's a one-to-one relationship. It wasn't allowed to think beyond its framework, its programming, and it didn't have any memory. It didn't learn from itself. So that was the first generation. Second generation is what is called ML, or machine learning. This is where systems learn from data rather than predefined rules. Started using decision trees for the first time to predict answers based off of decisions it made in the past. This is when IBM's Deep Blue came in, and about 1997 became the world chess master by beating Kasparov. I don't know if you remember that news story back in the late 90s, but that was the first time a machine beat a human at a task. So moving on to third generation. This was from 2010 to present day. We're still in this generation. This is deep learning, the DL. What that means is deep learning allowed computers to process, parse, and reference massive amounts of data. And we're talking massive amounts of data that are zettabytes, petabytes, numbers that are far greater than our human mind can comprehend. But more importantly, they're able to do this quickly and efficiently. And I don't know if you remember, a few years ago, Google's AlphaGo was the first real live demonstration of deep learning when it became the world Go champion back in 2016. So that is the first real world example of deep learning. Now we are currently in the deep learning and the Gen AI, the generative AI generation. That started about 2020. Generative AI can create new text images, new images, and new music. Most importantly, though, it learns from previous experience. This is the first machine that engages in what's called heuristic learning. And what heuristic learning is it remembers everything that you did, you interacted with it previously, which it gets better and better as time goes on. Now, over the past 2 to 3 years, I've been working extensively with several AI models, and I can tell you some things it does learn and get better at, some things it doesn't, and they're working on getting that worked out. We'll talk about some experiences here in a few minutes, but where are we now? What is artificial intelligence? So after this class, if somebody asks you what artificial intelligence is, you can answer with a single or two sentences. Here it is. It is the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think and learn like humans. That's it. It's no more complicated than that. It's basically machines that are trained to think like humans. exciting, but also terrifying if you think about it long enough. So the key is making decisions, problem solving, and pattern recognition. That is what AI is very, very good at. And here's another one of those generated AI generated images about a friendly AI entity. Now, here's the terms you're going to want to know. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here because this is where smoke starts coming out of people's ears when they're trying to think about what AI is. We have to lay the foundation for terms so that you understand these terms are going to be thrown around a lot, and this is going to be in your handout. So when you see these acronyms in the news, you know what they mean. So here's the terms. First one, algorithm. For those of you that aren't familiar with what an algorithm is simply step-by-step instructions that a computer uses to solve a problem. Breaks down tasks into step-by-step sequences, examples, sorting and searching algorithms. Google, the web browser right now is very, very good at search algorithms. AI takes it a step further. So we want to introduce you to what an algorithm is. Machine learning. We just talked about this. The acronym is ML, and it is algorithms, plural, trained on large sets of data to learn patterns and make predictions and decisions without being explicitly programmed to do so. So the machine can learn based off of patterns and experiences to give better answers and predict the answers based off of historical knowledge. Okay, so that is machine learning. Natural language processing. This is 90% of what are interacting with in AI right now. So almost everything that you're dealing with is natural language processing, or NLP. This focuses on interactions between humans and computers through natural language. It allows machines to understand and interpret what we're saying to it, and allows them to communicate with us. So that's what natural language processing is. This is the natural interface between humans and AI. Now, this is all done via something called an LLM, which is a large language model. It's pretty self-explanatory. What a large language model is an AI model designed to understand and generate human language. And these are massive amounts of data. So large language models are the core of natural language processing, because you can't process the natural language if you don't have that large language model to draw from. Does that make sense? Everybody understand the correlation between LLM and NLP? Cool. Moving on. Here's the big one. This is the one where people are like, what? Neural networks. This is at the heart of what drives AI. Now, it is a I love that word, synthesized human brain, series of algorithms that attempt to recognize relationships in sets of data, the way that our brains do, that uses deep learning. Now, again, on the last slide, we talked about deep learning. Imagine this, the human brain, when you are asked the question, how are you today? You don't just answer fine. Your brain goes through, well, am I cold? Am I hot? Am I feeling good? Am I sick? Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I happy? Am I sad? Your brain goes through about 17 to 18 different variables to answer that question. And then your answer is based off of, well, how do I feel today? So that's what your neural network does. So when you ask a machine, could you do this? It's going to go through, okay, well, what's the variable? What's the context? What are they actually asking for? So that's what a neural network does. And it's super exciting to see that it's actually capable of reasoning and thought and answering questions with context. And it's exciting to watch an artificial neural network work. But then again, if you think about it too long, it is kind of horrifying. It's that too strong AI. If we don't moderate it, it could run away with itself. So let's see here. If you're confused, perfect. That's everybody who experiences this for the first time is confused. LLM, NLP, DL, ML. What is all of these acronyms? Welcome to the world of AI and IT. We are acronym driven. So hopefully you've got a base, because we got to lay the foundation before we build the house. So now that you understand what's going on under the hood, let's check out how we learn. Humans learn through peer-to-peer interaction. Now, before we go on, this is an AI generated image. I generated this from Microsoft's Copilot. And can anybody tell me what's weird about this picture? I purposely kept this one because AI made a mistake on this picture. I want you to be able to pick out the oddity in the AI generated photo. Can you tell me what's weird about this photo?
Lady in the blue's got a halo around her.
She does. She also has a wonderful Santa beard going.
Yeah.
So that was one mistake. There's four or five here, and I wanted you to be able to pick this out. You can see that she's got glasses on one side of her face, but not on the other. And then if you look here, the book is through the reader's hand. So, I mean,
No.
it's a pretty nice picture, but when you look at AI imagery under current technology, AI isn't perfect, and their images are going to be a little bit off. And you can quickly pick an AI image out just by the imperfections in human rendered. Now we're gonna generate some cute photos here, cute images here in a few minutes, but first and foremost, we need to talk about how AI learns. Peer-to-peer interaction. You are engaging in this today. I am the teacher. I am the instructor giving you information. And we've got, I don't know how many participants we've got today. Let's see here, 26, 25 participants. So each of you are going to learn in your own way. Even though I'm presenting the same information to all of you, you are all going to learn at different speeds, at different paces. You're going to pick up things that you learn in your own unique way, and it can be cumbersome and it can take a long time. Here's the thing. A lot of people, they say it takes 10,000 hours for somebody to become a master at any given trade. That's the general consensus for how long it takes to become a true master of anything. AI, that time is much, much smaller. And here's why. AI learns through what's called collective learning. They learn from training data, through data sets, also known as data lakes. Data lakes are just massive amounts of pools of information that that's a large language model, is a large pool of data that the natural language processing can refer to when it's looking for answers. Okay. Humans go from the memory of what they've done previously. That's our data lake, is our memory core, our memory stores, if you will. And as we get older, they say there's the first thing is something goes first, but I can't remember what it is. But anyway, that's exactly how AI learns, is those massive amounts of data, except it doesn't have memory issues as it gets older. And again, we talked about the heuristic learning. So that training data is the baseline. Every experience on top of that training data, it's constantly learning and learning. Now, here's the trick, is it does it globally. Okay, so if my AI is learning from my interaction, it's dumping that information into the data lake, and every other machine attached to that data lake, every system connected to that data source learns, and it happens incredibly fast on a global scale. So when my machine learns something, within a second or two, every machine attached to that data source learns it as well. If you've seen the movie The Matrix from early 90s, late 90s, where Neo gets plugged in and they upload the program and he learns kung fu in like 8 seconds. That's kind of like how it works, is once one machine learns, the whole connected system learns. So AI learns through collective learning globally, and it does go on that heuristic level, or that learning from past mistakes. Now, let's put this into comparison. The human brain has 700 trillion parameters. And you can think of parameters like a combination of algorithms and memories, how our brains access the data that's stored. So that would be what a parameter is. And again, we're spitballing here. It's not an accurate number, about 700 trillion. When ChatGPT was born, ChatGPT 3, back in November of 2022, it had 175 billion parameters. So still a long way off from the machines simulating the human brain. Now, we just launched GPT 4.0, not 40, not 4.0, but 4 little o. It has 1.8 trillion parameters. That's one generation. You see how quickly it went from 175 to 1.8 trillion, billion to trillion, in basically a year and a half, 2 years. GPT-5 is expected to be out in the next 18 months. GPT-5 is expected to have approximately 10 trillion parameters, and that's going to be by the end of 2025, early 2026. AI will be exactly 3 years, a little over 3 years old, and it's 10 trillion parameters. So we're not even to GPT-6 yet. And GPT, what that stands for is generative pre-trained. So when you hear GPT, what that means, it's a generative AI that's pre-trained on a data set. And those data sets are 1.8 trillion parameters, 10 trillion parameters. So by GPT-6, maybe GPT-7, we don't know, it could officially simulate the human brain on the exact level that the human brain operates on. So again, this is exciting, but also can be a little scary. So it learns fast. Let's talk about generation 4, the generative AI, the generation that we are currently in. It was born on, they turned it on November 30th, 2022. We just passed November 2024. So it's 2 years and about a month old. It just celebrated its second birthday, and here's what is already completed. It's currently reasoning between a 7th and 8th grade level. Reasoning. That's really important to understand because reasoning includes context and being able to understand your environment when you're making decisions. So reasoning at about a 7th to 8th grade level. So here's what it's already done. It's already passed the bar exam. It's already passed the medical licensing exam, and its SAT scores are on average 1410 out of 1600. So it is actually performing on human testing on, I want to say, between the 80th and 90th percentile. So it being a 2-year-old is already able to do things that most humans are unable to do, and it's able to do all three. You know, everybody has probably taken the SATs, or the majority of us have, but very specific humans have done the medical licensing exam and the bar exam, let alone both. So AI has already done that at 2. In healthcare, this is exciting. This is the main area that I work in. So watching AI develop in the area of healthcare is fascinating and exciting. It's successfully detected and diagnosed medical conditions, helping doctors and researchers. Now, they aren't making diagnoses. AI isn't making diagnoses, but what it is it's recommending in that pattern recognition, saying, hey, I've got records of 3 million patients with this same malady or this same illness, and these are the markers that are showing as out of abnormal. So the AI being able to do that pattern recognition has really helped healthcare move leaps and forwards forward. So leaps and bounds forward rather. So healthcare, very promising. AI is very exciting on the good side, and I'm being optimistic when we talk about that because there are some obvious fears that go along with that, which we'll talk about here in a minute as well. But as far as education goes, this is really kind of interesting because my last year at CSU, when I was going through my latest degree, I actually went through a class. It was an English class, and I told the professor, I am going to engage in AI for this course. 50% of my papers are going to be written by me. 50% of my papers are going to be written by AI. I want to see if you can tell the difference. And I told her, I will live and die by that sword. I will take whatever grade the AI writes. And if I get a D on that paper from the AI, that's fine. But I tell you that story because AI and virtual reality combine to create this immersive learning environments for students today. Moral of the story is I got the class out of 1,000 points for the class, I got 978 points. So AI, actually, no, it was me. My grammar and punctuation was terrible. But I did receive a very high grade thanks to AI. And it helped that instructor at CSU really learn the power of how good AI is at text generation. So, but in education, again, AI virtual, it's this immersive learning environment. It has intelligent tutoring that gets better at teaching you based off of your interaction with it, and it also assists teachers with learning outcomes and grading. So, really, really exciting developments in education thanks to AI, and for government too. This is kind of interesting because I asterisk one of these comments here: improved efficiencies, improved security, and improved accessibility. So improved efficiencies. AI is helping the administrators with day-to-day mundane tasks, looking through large collections of data for specific anomalies or what they're trying to accomplish. Say you've got 15,000 submissions for a specific grant. AI is going to go through and say, hey, I want you to pull out these specific applications that meet these specific criteria, and it allows them to go through processing much, much faster. Improve security. This is my area of expertise. This is where I've been watching how AI detection has been able to catch viruses and cyber attacks and malicious activity on networks much faster than a human looking at a dashboard. So I have really been impressed with how AI has helped with the national security of cyber attacks, and then improved accessibility. Imagine what would happen if universally everybody could get to a government service, no matter what language you spoke, that service could be served up to you in your native language. That's what they talk about, improved accessibility. There is no longer a language barrier when you are interacting with government services. That is extremely powerful. We'll talk about that more here as well. Now, we've talked about classes, we've talked about generation, we've talked about generations, we've talked about the types, we've talked a lot about how we got here in AI. Now let's talk about the classifications, okay? There are 4 classes of AI. Okay, there are reactive machines. That's the dumb AI. That's the weak AI. Narrow, no memory, limited reaction, can't learn. So those are called reactive machines. Again, the Siri, the Alexa, the Google Assistants. Hey, Alexa, what time is it? That is a reactive machine. Okay. We are now in the limited memory. We have put guardrails on it so it learns, but it's very specific what it can learn. So we've limited its memory collection capabilities. It still learns heuristically. It still improves over time. It is adaptable. It's very adaptable, pattern recognition, and learns from the past. This is going to be your chat GPT. Most current AI tools are limited memory. Now, where things are going to get dicey, exciting, scary, nerve-wracking is once we cross the barrier from limited memory into theory of mind. Now, what theory of mind is the machine is going to be able to interpret and predict human emotions, beliefs, and intentions based off of voice, based off of pulse rate, based off of skin temperature, pheromones that you release into the air. It's going to be able to detect all of those things and predict where are you mentally and emotionally that day based off of the chemical signs that your body gives off. This is very exciting, but also very, very scary. Now, at the time when I wrote this back in October, they expected it in 10 years. News just broke last week. They're expecting it now within the next 24 months. So they're running into one roadblock that we'll talk about here in a second that will prevent theory of mind from really exploding. Theory of mind AI will be able to mimic the human mind and interpret human emotions. That's very, very dangerous and exciting, because if a machine can pretend to be a human, what does that look like for us? It's exciting times. And then beyond that, the next step is called the self-aware consciousness. That's the Skynet. That's the C3POs. That's the Terminators. That's the Millennial Man. That's the robots or the cyborgs that are part biological material, part machine. These are self-recognized entities, advanced reactions, consciousness, and they're expected in the next 50 years or so. So only theoretical at this point. There is no AI system on the world that can do this, but it is an AI system that recognizes its own existence. Now, who here can tell me why we are stuck at limited memory and we can't really break into broad theory of mind? Can anybody tell me what our limitation is right now?
Number of neurons.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope. Good guess though. Good guess though. It's the electricity to run it. That is the one holdback right now, because right now, the amount of power it would take to run a theory of AI or theory of mind AI neural network on a broad scale would consume all of the electricity that we currently generate. So we do not have enough power on the planet right now to generate. We don't generate enough power to run this level of AI. So that is our number one. So it's not about politics. It's not about should we or could we. It's not about the AI current model. It's simply the power to run the brain. Humans, we're amazing at generating our own power to run this amazing thing between our ears. However, machines are dependent on us to provide it the energy to run it. So that's the standstill we're at right now. So let's talk about where we are. Narrow AI. We've just passed. We still have a lot of narrow AI, a lot of just reactive machines in the market right now, but we've just passed the threshold. We are now into general AI. So don't confuse general AI with generative AI. So, real quick, this 10 years, this theory of mind. When I said in the next 2 years, they're talking about a general AI that can breach the theory of mind theory. So that's what we're expecting in the next 2 years. And then super intelligence is at the end of theory of mind as they go into self-aware consciousness. So the next big leap that we're going to see in AI is going to go from generative AI to general artificial intelligence. That's when we're going to start seeing theory of mind. Once they can figure out the power solution, sky's the limit. So this is where we are right now. We are at the end of the narrow AI, about to cross over the threshold into general artificial intelligence. Now, let's talk about the future. What does it look like? In business, it's going to be improved customer service. I'm sure everybody loves the online chatbots right now that are run by it's not quite strong AI, but it's getting there. Breaking down language barriers, that's amazing, especially with Apple Intelligence. Bobsky can talk to this. The translator on the watches now are incredible, where I can speak a sentence and it will within seconds translate into whoever it is that I'm speaking to on the other end. The loss of the language barrier is going to be powerful in many, many instances. We talked about medical diagnoses, treatments, and cures. Again, big things coming. Let's talk about entertainment here. This has been super fun. There's been a lot of talk in the news about AI and copyright, and you create a song. I want Garth Brooks to sing this T-Pain song or this Bon Jovi song in Garth Brooks country style. You can actually have AI rewrite copyrighted material to make it sound like whatever you want. Sky's the limit. However, in entertainment, they're trying to get under control with the copyright infringement that AI is capable of at this point. But far beyond music, images, videos, games, and puzzles, let's talk about fact checking and virtual assistants. When I love the fact right now that AI is able to fact check faster than humans are. Now, again, we still have to moderate the results, but it, again, does that pattern recognition. It searches an entire cavern of data within seconds to be able to say, hey, this is accurate or not. So, and virtual assistants, I do believe in this, let me see here. Yes, in the Zoom call today, if you happen to look, you've got an AI companion that is actually, normally it's gold if you can turn it on. Right now we have it deactivated, but the AI assistant in your Zoom meetings, if you click on that, it's going to transcribe everything that I'm saying and it's going to outline it, and it's super, super easy for note-taking and outlining to find key points. For me as an attendee in a meeting, I click that, and then I can say, hey, did anybody mention my name? And it can pop up to remind me or show me where my name was mentioned in a meeting, so I know what I have to take away from that meeting and pay attention to. So the AI assistant, really, really powerful and getting better. And then most importantly, I'm going to show you this here in a minute, is summarizations. You can take an hour-long piece of media and summarize it in 3 or 4 seconds so you can get the key points. And Bobsky, I used you as a guinea pig on this, and I'll show you that here in just a second. And let's talk about the social ramifications of the future of AI: companionship, conversations, emotional support. What could we do for mental health if we all but eliminate loneliness because we've got a customized companion that can communicate with us as if it was a normal human being? Help with, like I said, mental health issues. Again, that language barrier, moderation, assistive technology. The social aspects of AI are incredible, especially in the field of mental health. So again, the things that are coming are really, really exciting if done correctly. Now, here's the big question, and I'm sure this is why most of you are here. How do I use AI safely? I'm going to take a drink of my Go juice here. And we are going to talk about the rules. But first, we're going to talk about what's the difference between a smart device and an AI device or a tool. Okay. I'm sure that you all heard I have a smart TV, I have a smart toaster, I have a smart toothbrush, I have a smart this, smart that. What does that mean? Smart devices are simply this. Smart devices are not, it's a form of AI, but it's more internet. It's the fact that it's able to connect to the internet or connect to Bluetooth. It has basic automation on or off. It has the ability to, it has an app installed on it to run whatever automation it is capable of doing. And it may have voice control. So those are not an exclusive list, but that's what a smart device is. So AI devices, on the other hand, this is where there is a clear-cut delineation. So an AI device completes complex tasks, for example, chatbots on websites.
It can make decisions and predictions based on previous experiences, as we talked about, and it can understand context of complex requests as well, currently being integrated with more things. Now,
this is where we need to understand the difference between a tool or a vendor and a model. Okay. When you hear of Apple Intelligence, when you hear of Copilot, when you hear of Gemini, if you're an X user, Grok is the new thing on X. Those are vendors. They are all run off of different AI models. It's a very clear distinction. When you're dealing with an AI tool, it's good to know what model is running that tool. And I'll show you how to do that here in just a few minutes. So let's move on. Let's get to the next. We've got 3 types of AI tools. So lots of different categorizations. Number 1 is a standalone AI tool. This requires no setup. This works independently. This is your Chat GPT. This is Google's Gemini. This is Apple Intelligence. And this is Microsoft Copilot. Those are the big 4. They're standalone AI tools that you can interact with directly. Now, AI integrated tools, built-in AI enhancements using an AI model from another product. So for example, Gemini for Google Workspaces. You may be in a doc or a sheet or some kind of Google document, but it's powered by Gemini for the tooling like the grammar and the content creation. So you're in Workspace, that is the tool that has the AI integration from Google. Same thing with Zoom's AI assistants. We just talked about that here a few minutes ago. Zoom's AI assistant is the AI integration feature. Copilot is integrated from Microsoft, and Copilot is across the board with Microsoft products. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know that Microsoft owns 48% of OpenAI that is developing ChatGPT? So Microsoft owns just a little bit less of a controlling stake in OpenAI. So that's to say that Copilot is run off of ChatGPT. Interesting thing, Suri with Apple Intelligence. Bob, he can keep me honest here, but Apple Intelligence is based off of a version of OpenAI's ChatGPT. It's a proprietary version that Apple owns it directly, but the model is, again, that OpenAI AI model. So, and the third type is custom AI solutions, AI applications tailor-made to solve specific problems. Like Johns Hopkins University created an AI tool to detect specific health issues. And I worked with one company called Darktrace that is an AI system that can parse millions of emails and find the anomalies and find the malicious content in those emails. So those are specialized customized AI solutions. And unless you're in industry, you're probably not going to experience those. You and I, the end user or consumer, are going to most of the time live in these 2 areas, the standalone AI tools and the AI integrated features. So, but those are the 3 different types. Now, this is one of the most important slides, using AI responsibly. This is your data, your information. You need to guard and protect your information. Bottom line is rule number 1 of AI. Do not enter personal information into an AI system that you are not familiar with, that you do not control, that you don't know where your data is going. All other rules are just a shadow compared to this. This is the most important rule number 1. I'm going to show you how to do this safely here in a minute. It is no longer your data. When you put it into an unknown AI source or an uncontrolled AI tool, that data is no longer yours. It is now owned by whoever owns that AI model. It's very important to understand that. Use trusted sources. Bottom line is only use well-known, trusted AI tools, understand what tools is being used for, and understand the limits of that tool. Like, for example, you're not going to ask a language model to generate a picture. You're going to use a specific AI that is an image generator. Gemini, Apple Intelligence, Copilot, OpenAI, Zoom AI, DALL-E, those are all really, really well-known AI models that take privacy into consideration when working with them. Bottom line is consult with someone knowledgeable. It's great to tinker, and I encourage everybody to play with it, but do it with rule number one in mind: your data. When you put information into AI, make sure that you anonymize it as much as possible. Remember, rule number one for SafeEye tinkering. So let's get started. How do we talk to AI? Let's just get started with the concept of Googling. Everybody knows what Googling is. It's so common, it's now a verb. It's basically searching a search engine versus what we do in AI, which is called prompting. We're going to prompt the brain to do what we want it to do. Googling uses search engines. We've talked at length about those. It's searching keyword matching, keywords and phrases. Search results are lists of websites, documents, web content that lives on the internet. Context, the search results are mainly just word matching. It doesn't have context into what you're searching for. It's simply word recognition. That's all it is. That's what Googling or searching on a search engine is for. It can't comprehend the context of your search. I'm not going to spend too much time here because everybody here has Googled at one point in time. It helps you find information, but it doesn't help you summarize or fact check the accuracy of those results. For example, in this case, best restaurant for food allergies near me that I can take my dog to. If you put that into Google, you are going to get a list of sites that, oh, this is dog-friendly restaurants. We've got top 10 best allergy-friendly restaurants in Boulder. It doesn't give you context. It just gives you information, and it's up to you to dig through that information to find what you're looking for. So it's up to you to sort and find the information you're looking for. Prompting, on the other hand, is Googling with feeling, okay? So you're going to ask the tool questions, not just searching for words. It's going to summarize all potential information in the context of the question. AI understands the context of why you're asking the question, and answers are more relevant and coherent. It can summarize large quantities of information quickly, and it can also assist you with follow-up tasks. Google can't do that. Prompting can. So if we feed the same prompt, best restaurants for food allergies near me that I can take my dog to, this is what it looks like. So again, I ran this through Gemini yesterday just to make sure the results were still the same. And it actually improved over 2 months ago when I originally wrote it. The closest restaurant to you that caters to people with food allergies is the Italian Twist. It's only 7 miles away, and it has 4.7-star rating on Google Maps. And it goes and says, here's the Roost, here's the Pump House, Smokin' Dave's, the Den on 11th. And again, this is based off of my current location. And this is why you need to be careful the information you put in, because somebody could say, oh, well, he did this search, North did this search, and it's 7.1 miles away. So theoretically, you could find where I did this search based off of the results here. So anyway, I hope this helps. But it not only gave me a list of restaurants, it gave me the links to those restaurants, summarized it, so I don't have to go website to website to website to find it. It's actually broken that down for me. So types of prompting. Now, this is where we're getting into the meat of this. This is super fun. Prompting, there are 3 kinds, and really only 3 kinds. The zero-shot prompt is you're giving the tool no examples. Write me a quote for my email signature. You're giving it the universe to draw from, and it's going to do its best. And its limitation, it's a zero-shot, no examples. Okay. Then there's a one-shot. One example to specifically focus its energies, okay? One example included in your prompt would be, write me a quote from my email signature using only poets from the 1900s. Focuses that data that it's searching through. And then the third type is a few shot. So a few is any more than one example. So in this case, write me a quote for an email signature using only poets from the 1900s that offer positive affirmations. So in this, I've got 2 examples, poets from the 1900s that offer positive affirmations. So there are my 2 examples. That is few shots, so 2 or more. And you can get as crazy as you want. The character limit is really the only limit for your prompt. So let's talk about chain of thought prompting. So now we know the more examples we give when we query the tool, the better the answers, right? It's just like us. If somebody says, hey, go bake me a cake, you're like, okay. The chances of you getting it right for the person that's asking you to do the task, it doesn't give you a whole lot of framework. So you have to think about, when you're talking to AI, it's like you're talking to a human. It's that natural language processing. So if you're asking it to do something, the more information you give it, the better the results are going to be. So dividing a single task into more manageable steps. This is called chain of thought prompting. Standard prompt is in this example, create a message for my Christmas cards. Okay. Not a whole lot of detail here. The AI is probably going to get it wrong. Okay. Now, chain of thought breaks the tasks into steps. The first shot is going to be use my contacts list to customize the cards using first names only. Now, again, you want to keep personal data out of it. I'm going to do this exercise for you here in just a second to show you what that looks like. Write a fun note with holiday wishes that is unique to each contact on my contact list. And then finally, sign each holiday note, sending love and holiday joy, love North. Now, this is a many shot or a few shot prompt where I'm telling it, create a unique note for each person on my list using first name only. I want the AI to create the customized message and then assign each message with the same signature. So what that looks like is this. Sure, here's a personalized holiday note for each contact you use on your list. Now I put this into Copilot and I just created a little spreadsheet with 5 or 6 first names, Steve, Mark, Doug, but wish you a holiday season filled with laughter. So each of these messages are AI generated. The signature line is my fixed sending joy and love this holiday season. Cheers, North. So this is how I used AI to leverage a long task. I don't know, I've got 20, 25 people that I would send cards to, but having this generate those notes, I don't have to think about creating customized notes for each one. I can use AI to help me augment that, and then I can go through and speed that task up. So uploading a sanitized contacts list, AI took seconds to generate all of my messages. I got that task done in I think 12 seconds or so. So anyway, now we need to identify the limits of AI. Okay, we've talked about what it can do. This is what we need to be aware of the current state of the tools. Biases. AI can only provide information based off of its training data. Okay, it can't answer outside of the data that it has access to. So the training data, every AI model has a cutoff date with their training data. What you need to know about that is the date means this is my core data that I'm programmed with. Anything above that date or more recent is learned through heuristic interactions. So that heuristic interaction is when the mistakes are starting to be made. So you can literally in any AI model type in what is the cutoff date for your training data, and it will tell you. So let me just show you what that looks like. So nope, let's go here. So I'm going to jump into Copilot, and I'm going to show you what this looks like real quick. What is the cutoff date for your training data? And it's going to tell you my training data information. So Copilot from Microsoft, the training data is current up to October 2023. So we are now in December 2024. So that means everything any new information is going to be learned heuristically. So its training pool ended in October 2023. So that's how you can figure out the limitation of the AI tool that you're working with. I've had some that are the training data is cut off back to November 2022 because that's when it was turned on. So you're not really going to have training data. Well, you may have training data that's older, but again, that training data source is going to help you identify how good the AI is, what it does. Now, hallucinations. This is AI trying to answer a question in a creative way that it may or may not have facts to back it up. So, factually inaccurate results. Bottom line is double check results that are considered high stakes tasks. Okay. You can Google this news story, but about the lawyer that I believe he got disbarred because he had AI write a brief that was referencing case law that never existed. So there was a big story about that earlier this year about a lawyer that got into a lot of trouble because it used AI to write a summary off, but didn't fact check it. So bottom line is double check results. Tool versus model. Understand the tool. The AI model is the engine that runs the car. The tool is the tool that you're interfacing with. That's the car that you're riding in. So that's the difference between a tool is run off of an AI model. So Copilot is run off of ChatGPT. Understand the two. Okay. Now, specific design. AI accomplishes specific tasks. Like, for example, virtual assistant, a verbal virtual assistant, like an Apple HomePod run by Apple Intelligence. You cannot ask it to create an image because it has no way to provide that image if it doesn't have a way to display it. So if you're asking an AI tool to do something that it's not designed to do, it cannot perform that function or give you that answer. So chatbot, audio, video generation, stuff like that. So just understand, don't ask the machine to do something it physically can't do. And then again, human moderation is still very, very important right now. Always check any results of any AI tool, again, especially with high stakes tasks. And again, I purposely left that vague because a high stakes task to me is going to be different than a high stakes task for you. So again, human moderation. Now, top tools to get started. Let's talk about this. Types of tools. This is my favorite, one of my favorite slides. We talked about Copilot a lot, built into Microsoft Edge browser. If you use Edge browser, like we just saw, that little Copilot symbol, you can click on that and go straight to the AI tool. We're going to be using that for a lot of the demo today. Gemini, it's built into Google, but it's not a direct tool that you interact with unless you specifically go to the gemini.google.com. ChatGPT, again, if you go to OpenAI, you can sign up for an account and interact directly with the latest version of ChatGPT. That for the latest greatest tools, that does come with a subscription. And then Apple's proprietary AI model. I asterisk this. I can't wait to play with this because it looks amazing, but it's got a lot of hardware limitations. So there's a lot of buzz behind it, but a lot of folks can't use it yet because their devices, even though it runs the OS, it doesn't have the hardware requirements to run the AI on that phone. So if you've got a phone with 18.2 and you're like, where's my Apple Intelligence? It's because you don't have the memory, the chipset that will actually power the AI model. So remember,
Hey, North,
yes, sir.
that requires iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 16 and beyond. So,
And I've got an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I spent 2 days. Where's my Apple Intelligence before I thought to look at what models is it available on?
you
So,
can't see me shaking my head, but I
yeah,
am.
right. So, eventually, Apple Intelligence is going to be awesome for all Apple users, but for right now, you just have to be the elite with the latest, greatest hotness in the Apple ecosystem right now to enjoy it. It does look amazing, and I can't wait to play with it. But just understand, Apple Intelligence does have that limitation. Now, Zoom. Everybody here's on a Zoom call. If the next Zoom you're on, again, remember that Apple or that AI companion. If it's gold, click it, turn it on, have it summarized for you, and start playing with it. The Zoom is a great, safe place to start interacting with AI's ability to summarize and take notes. And then I'm going to teach you an online database that if you're curious about the AI tools, it's TAAFT or TAFT. It's literally www.there'sanai.for-that.com. This is going to come up again, but this is an online database and it's been around since 2020, 2021. And it is an online database for all known AI tools and their associated models. So you can go to that website and say, I'm trying to create a business model. You can put that into there's an AI for that, and it can show you all the AI tools on the market. So you can quickly review different AI tools and vendors. So it's really powerful. I use it quite frequently. Now, let's get hands-on. This is where the fun stuff starts. All right. So for those of you that want to follow along here, we are going to go open Microsoft Edge and navigate to bing.com. We are going to use Microsoft Copilot. So we're going to talk about basic prompting. Okay. So here's what we are going to do. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to create a new chat. And the prompt is explain AI to me like I'm a 10-year-old. Okay. Within a second, it's like, sure, here we go. This is what I can do. And it will give you the answer. And it will also cite the source. So if there is a source that it references, in this case, it doesn't, some of these prompts, it will give you a website that it got the information from. Sure, imagine you have a really smart friend who knows a lot about everything and can help you with almost anything. The friend is called artificial intelligence, or AI for short. AI is a super brain, and I'll let you put the prompt in and see what your AI responds to. But can anybody tell me which prompt that was. Was that a zero shot, a one shot, or a many shot?
Sounds like a one shot.
It's a one shot. Explain AI to me. That would be a zero shot. A one shot gave it an example like I'm 10 years old. So that is a one-shot prompt. So let's take a look at another, and I'm actually just going to copy and paste these simply because nobody needs to watch me type something incorrectly 6 times. So let's talk about brainstorming here. This is a fun one. On your sheet, on your handout, you can copy and paste these in. Create a menu for dinner tonight. I only have hamburger, cream of mushroom soup, and spaghetti noodles. This is an example of a many shot because I've given it multiple ingredients. So let's see what it has to say here. Great, main dish, creamy hamburger spaghetti. And it goes through and it not only gives me a recipe, but it also tells me, what I can make, the specific instructions on how to do this. Now, the other interesting thing is it didn't draw this from a website. This pulled it from its own training data because it didn't reference a website. It's required to provide you the source for that. And again, if you prompt it to, you can say here, and provide me the source of this information. So in this prompt, I just had it create a menu for me for tonight with those ingredients. Now, let's move on to the next one. Summarize. This one may be dangerous. It's fun. We're going to go ahead and paste, summarize today's headlines from NBC News. Okay. I don't have time to go to the website and go through it. So in this case, we did give it a website to reference. So the top 3 today are Supreme Court, bombing kills top Russian general, and Madison school shooting. Those are the top 3 news stories on NBC.com. And here we go. There are the actual links on NBC.com to each of those stories. So it summarizes very quickly. Now, this is off script for those of you that are joining the live presentation today. This is actually not in the handout, but I want to show you something that is really, really cool. Okay. Now, Gemini, it's got 1.5 and then 2. Okay, so I'm going to go to 2 for this. Summarize this, and you go at YouTube video, add timestamps. And real quick, let me grab the video here real fast. And Bobski, thank you for this. I appreciate you being the guinea pig today. Let me actually grab the link to the video.
Oh no, now what did I do?
Oh, you're going to see. So this is a fun part. So I'm pulling this directly off of Info SCTC, the YouTube channel. And
We can't see you grabbing that URL.
nope, because I wanted to make sure that I kept it.
Oh,
So
okay.
basically what you're going to do is you're going to go to YouTube. If it's an hour-and-a-half video, like in this case, Bobski rambled on for an hour with some fantastic information. I've got 10 minutes to read through it. Add timestamps. Okay. There is the YouTube video. Okay. YouTube will watch the video for me and tell me, hey, this is what it is. Here's the key points. And if there's, I love that the overall the speaker believes that iCloud is a valuable tool for people who want to sync their products and other data between Apple devices on their Windows PC. However, he also acknowledges there are some challenges using iCloud. So congratulations, Bobski. Google Gemini AI has now judged your video for you and given me the outline. Now, one thing, does anybody know what it missed?
How would I know?
Okay, so I prompted it to summarize the YouTube video. I also asked it to add timestamps. So this is a case where it missed a prompt because it summarized it, but it didn't give me the timestamp. So I can't go back to the video and say exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This is when they talked about it. So this is a case where AI is really cool, but it did miss its prompt. So you may have to prompt it a couple of times to tweak it to get exactly what you want. So again, this is off script. Gemini is really, really good at doing this because Google owns YouTube. You can actually get YouTube summarizations in Gemini. But if we do the same thing here, summarize this YouTube video, and be sure to add timestamps in your outline. and give it the video. Let's see what Microsoft ChatGPT does. Whoops. I can't directly access or summarize. You may run into that simply because that's the limitation of Microsoft's AI model. It doesn't have the rights to dig into YouTube like Google does because Google owns YouTube. So this is an example of know the limitation of your AI tool. So let's move on. Let's create a new chat. Let's move on to the next. What is the next one? So write a context with style. Here we go. This one is another few shot. So what we're going to do here, create a thank you note for my granddaughter who is 6. And again, it doesn't matter spacing. AI can work around the spacing. Daughter who is 6 years old, thank her for the handmade drawing she made for me. So I'm going to hit the paper airplane, and it's great. Here you go, within a few seconds. And I love how it prompts or it returns like it's thinking and typing. But yeah, thank you so much for the beautiful handmade drawing. Now, again, you don't have to use this, but this is great for brainstorming and helping you. You can use this idea to go and customize it yourself, but it wrote it in what, 2 seconds, 3 seconds? That task is done. So this is what makes AI really, really powerful. So moving right along, how are we doing on time? All right, with the technical errors, we are backing up against 15 minutes cutting into our Q&A. So let's move to the next one. Now we're getting more personalized here. Okay, so this is where we start getting personal. Now, again, it can check your work. You want to make sure that you don't add personal information here because we're going to upload a file. Edit the text. Excuse me. Edit the text in this document for grammar, spelling, and flow. Okay, so here I'm going to click the add file, and then I just so happen to have a document here called Copilot Rocks. Okay, and now it's thinking, uploaded a copy because a file with the same name already exists, and upload a copy. Okay, great. So it's Copilot Rocks.1. I did run a test last night. And so basically what this is a copy of, and this is the resulted work. Okay, this is the changes it made. Okay, now please provide the changes you made from the original document. That way, it will show us what changes it made. And I purposely went in there and made some changes. So here we go. So the original text, it tells us, okay, what they corrected was I misspelled Copilot. So I spelled it Copliot and then Surify to ensure, and then added some gobbledygook in here. So the original as Microsoft Copliot for seamless, providing robust support, and then making a versatile and reliable assistant for a wide range of ramifications. So I purposely went in there and made some grammatical errors, and it caught them and created them. So it changed the words. So instead of surify, it's not a real word. It changed it to ensure properly, and removed to be for maybe, which is again a gobbledygook sentence to improve clarity. It changed ramifications to applications for better context. So again, this is an example of it looks at what you're saying, and then it can adjust the context and the phraseology of your text to make it sound however you want it to. So that's kind of exciting that it can do that from a file. Now, again, notice the original, there was no personal data in there when I had it do this. If I needed to, I would create text without personal information and add it on an as needed basis after I copy and paste this back into my Word doc. So interesting thing here is this is AI generated except for the modifications I made to mistakes, to show mistakes, and then the AI caught my mistakes and corrected it. So really cool functionality there for text. Let's see here. Oh, this is fun. This is one of my favorite things. Okay, create an image of a dog. I don't want just any dog. I want a corgi because corgis are my type of dog. Writing a unicorn, make it realistic. Let's see. Now, this is a cool thing about Copilot and Gemini is they are both natural language processing engines, but they are also powered by image generating or image creating AI models
Right.
as well. So they can do text and images. Can't
Hey,
do
North.
video. Yeah.
Uh, is this a paid for version of Copilot?
No, this is free. This is all you have to do. The one thing that you do have to do, because again, it learns heuristically, you do have to log in with your Microsoft account. So if you don't have a Microsoft account, create one. And oh, there we go. There's our corgi riding a magical unicorn in a fairy forest with golden hooves. So there is AI generating what it thinks I want to see, and you can prompt and change it around anyway. And again, the limit here is the prompt has to be 16,000 characters or less. That's a lot of text for you to use. So to answer your question, no, this is free, but you do have to, in the upper right-hand corner, sign in with your Microsoft account because, again, it can't learn if it doesn't know who you are. So that's the one. Uh, condition. Now, I think we've got a couple more and then we're wrapped up. Let's see here. Recommendation. And again, this one improves over time with use. I love this because if I'm like, who was that actor in that movie that did the thing? In this case, recommend a thriller movie involving ghosts and stars Tommy Lee Jones. Let's see what it comes up with. Boom, there we go. And it says The Missing. 2003 gives me some links to read about it. Thriller directed by Ron Howard, starring Tommy Lee Jones and Kate Blanchett. It's a primarily Western with supernatural or ghostly themes. So it did a pretty good job of matching my prompt to what I was looking for. So if you're looking for recommendations, that's one quick way you can do it. Now let's move on. This one is super interesting because this is where, again, this is a many shot prompt, but you're a travel planner. So we're basically telling what the AI it should respond like. Okay. Respond as if you're a travel planner. Please plan a 3-day trip from Longmont, Colorado to the Grand Canyon. We will be driving and we'll need to stop for gas and hotels for the night. Create a list of activities during our stay. So again, there's a lot of holes in this, but let's see what it does with the creativity. So it goes and says day one, okay, here's what we're going to do. Drive time is approximately 6.5 hours. Morning depart Longmont. First stop is Vail for, let's see here. Let's go to day one. So it says first stop is in Vail for a quick break in gas. Enjoy a meal at Minturn Saloon. Afternoon, second stop is in Grand Junction for fueling for gas and a short rest. Final stop is Moab, Utah for the first day. Second day, evening, stay overnight at the Moab recommendation hotel Hyatt Place Moab, and it gives us the link at the bottom, or it gives us the ability to find that. And then day two, so it literally can break out a plan for you for a road trip, giving you ideas of where you want to stop, so really, really starting to get into some powerful functionality here. Because if you Googled that, it would just give you a list of websites and say, good luck, have fun with that. Here's the information, do with it what you want. But it gets the context. And again, the more detailed your prompt is here, the better the results are going to be. So, and again, the prompt here, the only thing that they got out of it was Longmont, Colorado. So there's nothing specifically attributed to me, a personal address, a personal phone number, any identifiable information. So my prompts are what's called sanitized. So we are 8 minutes away from our 11:30. And since we did lose some time due to technical issues, I'll stay late for some Q&A if you would like. This one is fascinating. Again, translate this to English. Live in class. This is fantastic. Love this. Okay, who here knows Japanese? I gave it away. It's Japanese. So the AI is going to translate it for us. A few seconds later, it's going to go, oh, North is the most outstanding instructor and should get a raise or at least a box of cookies. So again, you can translate any language into English. It knows that English is my native language. So if you're looking at something now most websites will translate, but if you have something that you want to specifically translate, it does it in a matter of seconds. That's that natural language processing again. So last prompt, and then we're going to move into Q&A, how-to guidance. I almost don't want to show this one because you guys are going to understand exactly how we at the SCTC in our drop-in labs, when you're like, hey, I've got a problem with my computer, I'm gonna pull the curtain back and show the wizard how we do what we do. So we're not technical geniuses. We're just really good at Googling and prompting AI. So in this case, you come to me with a problem. Oh my gosh, how do I change the font size on my Windows 10 computer? I just go to AI and it makes me sound like I'm a genius, like I know everything about every computer system, but I literally just prompt AI and it gives me the steps. And that way I'm on the call with you. That's why my monitor is never facing my customers, because I don't want them to see that I am simply getting the answer from AI, because it makes me look like a super genius. So on behalf of everybody here at SCTC, this will probably be my last presentation, because I just gave away all the secrets to how SCTC tech folks do what they do. So
Yep, that's the secret sauce, all right.
that is, oh my gosh.
They
So
don't need us
nailed it,
anymore.
North.
yeah, yeah. And so
But
with
I
that,
cleared my cookies.
oh, uh-oh. Oh my goodness. Okay. So if you clear your cookies, then yeah, you're gonna have to come back to us to have us rebake all your cookies for you. So um anyway, we are now at the Q&A session. I am happy to stay a little bit late. We've got 7 minutes. But if you have to go, I totally understand. But lay your questions on me. This is the fun
Hey,
interactive part of
North,
this. Yeah, go
North,
for it.
how do you feel about perplexity? I've been using that a little bit just since it was recommended, and that seems to work okay by me.
Um, hmm, that's a great question. What is perplexity? Okay, now that you know how it's done, this is how I look like I have all the answers. So, key is I want to find out what the model is behind it. So, definition, concept used in information. Okay. More specifically, what is the perplexity AI tool, and what model does it run on? So, those are the two things I want to understand first and foremost. So, searching the web, generating the answer. Okay, so Perplexity is an AI-powered answer engine designed to provide accurate, trusted, and real-time answers to user queries. It is run off of, so we know that it's run off of OpenAI, GPT-3 and 4. So you know that the tool is robust, and it's not using some customized AI model that nobody knows about, and is generating human-like text. So Perplexity AI is, again, that vendor that is providing an AI tool, but it's powered by OpenAI GPT-4. So the only difference between Copilot and Perplexity is the fact that their training data is probably a little bit different. The training data that they get straight from OpenAI is going to be a lot different than the training data that Microsoft gets, because it's got a much larger pool. So follow-up question for you. Knowing what model it runs off of, I have no problems with it. I would prompt your AI tool, what is the cutoff date for your training data? Find out when the data that its core answers are coming from, what is that pool of data? So that's the other key thing, is figure out the training data cutoff. Does that answer your question? So
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. That clears it up a little bit.
okay. So yeah, again, find out, what the model is and the cutoff date for the training data. Looks like we've got a question for Christine. What do you have for us?
I was wondering, when you asked your AI to write a thank you note to your 6-year-old for her airplane drawing,
Mhm.
it said that it was colorful. Would the fact that it came up with colorful be a hallucination?
Well, no, because again, we have to go with what the prompt we gave it. We gave it a very vague prompt. So it's going to use its creativity and assume or make assumptions about what we're going to say in the note. And that's why the human moderation comes in. So it wasn't a hallucination, because we didn't give it a specific thing. Like, we'll use the lawyer example. Give me case law examples of this criminal case. And if it goes through and it generates things that we think are facts but are actual not real, um, that is a true hallucination, where it creates something that we know to be false. Okay. Now, in the prompt example, I want you to write me a note for the plane that my granddaughter gave to me. The AI is going to go, okay, the context. children generally draw with crayons. Crayons are not black and white. Therefore, there's probably going to be color involved in this. So let's point out her use of colors in this. So that's that neural network thinking going, most likely a 6-year-old is going to use crayons and not, a $3,000 graphite pencil set. So it's, again, that's where the moderation is going to come in, and you're going to go, okay, well, it was actually a pencil drawing, and then you can go make that change. But it gives you the idea.
So is a hallucination like a nefarious training of the or like how does that get in there? Because colorful came in from some of the things that deduced from your prompt, but I was just wondering.
So the way and again, a hallucination is where it doesn't have data to draw from, and it passes things off as true, which we know to be false. Okay. Like, for example, if we say 2 plus 2 is 4, we ask it, what is 2 plus 2? And it gives us the answer of pineapple. That would be a hallucination, because you and I, it's general knowledge. We know 2 plus 2 is 4, not pineapple. At that point, we could say that it's actually a hallucination where the answer is absolutely false. And it's common knowledge. Its training data should have known that. And it gave an answer that was 100% categorically false. That is a true hallucination.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. And I want to point this out. And so remember when I was talking about doing AI for my exams at CSU, one of the things that I did was I tested its mathematical capabilities. And I did this over an 8-week period of time. At week 1, the math questions that I gave it, it was scoring in the early 90s, 91 to 94%. Each week, I gave it the same test. And by week 8, it was actually scoring 63%. So this is the interesting thing about large language models. They're getting better with the new ones coming out. But large language is really good at language processing, but it was historically not that good at math. So if you're going to have it do math, double check the work, because it's getting better, but math over its learning curve, it actually curves downward instead of up. So math is still kind of a weak area. So other questions?
North, this is Betty, and this is kind of a personal question.
Uh-huh.
I have a son-in-law who had 2 strokes, and he's, of course, having problem with his left side. You talked about healthcare. You were involved in that. How do you feel AI will affect his recovery? Maybe.
That is a really good question. And now, first and foremost, I am not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV or radio. Okay, I'm a tech guy that talks about AI. So, what I can speak to is an example of radiology AI. Okay, and I'm gonna tie it together with the stroke here in just a second. So we've been testing a model of AI for radiology examinations. That the AI gets to look at the imaging, and it points out anomalies that the doctor may or may not have missed because of the monitor it was looking through, or if it, just for whatever reason, the AI was able to pick up on things that the doctor was not able to. In that case, it helped modify the trajectory of that treatment to create a better outcome because of the AI benefits. So to answer your question, in stroke treatment, again, I don't know the field of stroke treatment, but AI, like for example, that Johns Hopkins University, they created a tool specifically for, I don't know what malady it was, but there are AI models trained on certain types of illnesses or maladies that are improving treatment outcomes because of recommendations based off of historical data, right? So let's think of it this way. A doctor who is a neurologist who works on strokes, he has only been able to treat maybe 1,000 or 2,000 patients in his career. So his empirical data, his training data is only his experiences that he's physically had based off of what he has physically researched. AI can dip into millions and millions of patient records, treatments, variables, all of the things that treatment is based off of. AI can dip into all of that extremely quickly and make recommendations based off of the current case in front of them. So to hopefully answer your question, AI is augmenting a doctor's ability to recommend treatment because doctors are able to parse through millions of case histories and successful outcomes versus negative outcomes. So that's how it's shaping the way that doctors are treating now because they have access to all of this historical data, not just their limit of their experiences. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that because,
You
of
bet.
course, we're very hopeful.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, like I said, AI is changing the shape of medicine forever as we move forward. So hopefully good things, and prayers out to you and your family.
Thank you.
Who else? Any other questions? These have been great questions, by the way.
North, this is Daryl. I've seen some recent things on the internet about experimentation going on with AI, and they had to shut it down because AI participants started talking to each other in languages the scientists hadn't planned for or something. Anyway, I don't know if that's true stuff on the internet or if things in the lab are starting to get really concerning.
That is a fantastic question, and I'm actually part of a group. I don't want to say a support group because it makes it sound like we've got a problem talking about AI all the time and we're addicted to it. But no, what AI is doing right now that is fascinating because we didn't teach it how to do this. It came up with it on its own. Is AI is now playing around with creating its own agents. So AI is able to spin up its own AI agents to do its bidding to help speed up the functionality. And we've seen this in my line of work, it's called pen testing, where normally a human will go and try and break into a system through going through a series of steps. It's very methodical. Well, turning AI on to do that, AI is like, why do I have to do it step by step? I'll just create 18 agents that I control and have it go and do the things that I need to do on the checklist, but I'm creating and controlling those agents. So it's kind of like what you're talking about, where AI is kind of figuring itself out and it's starting to remove the human element from those procedures, where in this case, AI created its own communication to talk to itself to accomplish the goals that we gave it, but it's doing it in its own way, in its own efficiencies, using methods that we may or may not be aware of yet. So, yes, that is actually happening, and they are trying to control it because that's where, if we let AI off the leash and it creates its own efficiencies by creating methods that we as humans don't even understand yet. That's where we can spin off the rails and get into some dangerous territory. So, great question. And yes, that's actually one of the things that the guardrails in place right now is, yes, we want to play around with the AI's ability to create its own AI, but we want to keep it very, very limited to what it's capable of doing.
Thank you. Christine has her hand up.
Yep. Christine.
I guess you mentioned agents. Now, is it like AI writing its own code?
Yep.
Or subroutines or something?
That's exactly what it's doing.
Okay. Thank you.
You betcha. All
Nora,
right.
this is Betty again. I
Yeah.
just have a comment. I have a family member who lives in China. And your comments about what's happening in China, he has told us about for quite a while. And he says he's very careful about what he says and what he does and how he communicates because of their intelligence. So it's just a comment. And so we have to be really careful what we say or how we say it, etc. if we're talking. We use WhatsApp, which is supposedly secure, but who knows? Okay. So just wanted to comment about that. They are way ahead of us.
They absolutely are. So a couple things to back up what you just said, Betty, is so China lives behind what the world knows as the Great Firewall. It's the Great Chinese Firewall. So unlike the United States, in China, the Communist ruling party has rules where any company or entity that does business in the state of China, or in the country of China, is required to bend to the will of Chinese intelligence. So yes, that's very factual that every communication, every telco, cell phone, internet service provider, every website, all of it, if it's based in China, it has to allow Chinese government intelligence gathering capabilities by law.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you are absolutely accurate on that. I've worked with several clients that have traveled to China, and the things that happen to their equipment the second that they turn them on is alarming, but it's normal for Chinese citizens. So yeah, it's definitely a different world over in China for sure.
Yeah.
So, and this brings up a really good point I do want to point out. Right now, we are in the early phases of what's called the AI arms race. Okay. The winner of this arms race is who can train their AI with the most data and the fastest. And it's not some like US, they are very, very concerned about guardrails, making sure that AI isn't spinning up AI that becomes out of control. But other countries that are doing this do not have those same guardrails in place. So I guess the one thing to say with that, and I'll close with this, is the United States and United States companies are very excited about the AI boom, but we are trying to do it safely in a manner to where we don't end up with Skynet with too strong AI that renders us or thinks that we are irrelevant. So we are in for a very interesting future for sure.
Well, friends, that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed this video today. Hey, before you go, if you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you'd like to know when the latest SCTC video comes out, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. And if you have any ideas or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to leave a comment below. We'll see you next time.